Today we're going to cover 17 ways to create cases in Stemmons Enterprise. By now you're familiar with the various elements of the product, but we're talking today about cases, which you can also think of as tasks. So we have an individual with their task list, and other people in the company have theirs as well. When we think about creating tasks, the normal thing is to imagine somebody sitting at their desk firing off tasks on a one-by-one basis to people from their computer. There may be people who do that, but it's unrealistic to imagine an army of people in a company who are going to suddenly start behaving that way. After all, people have different styles and approaches. Some of them work from the field, and don't forget they go on vacation. Plus, we want to be able to use things like robotic process automation, tasks created on a schedule or an event, and workflows that help us automate our processes. So let's run through a bunch of ways we can actually use Stemmons to create these cases. First of all, there's the manual stuff, either from your desktop or from your mobile device. These are created through the interface and happen on a one-off basis. We can also use email to create tasks. Every case type gets a default email address automatically, so you can just send an email to it and it creates the case. Power users can also create custom email addresses that include a lot more logic, and we can use an alias to create cases by emails sent from outside of the company to things like information at your company or support at or careers at and so forth, where those will automatically create cases. Another way for people outside of the company to create cases is using a web form that's connected to Stemmons, so when somebody fills out the form, it creates the right kind of case. Some of the other Stemmons applications also create cases. One of them is Quest, which is our checklist and inspection system. We can create a scorecard where, depending on the answer to a question or the score overall, we could launch a case to follow up on something. Quest can also be used as a case launcher, like when we onboard a new vendor or piece of equipment or employee, and we want to launch cases to people within the company based on their roles. Standards is our system that contains process documentation. If a user sees something that needs attention, they can click on a feedback button that creates a case and sends it to the author. Cast is another aspect of the Stemmons suite that lets us use jobs to create cases. For example, we can have a one-time job that sends out a case to multiple people based on their roles or their position in the company or their job title. Or we can have something that recurs on a regular basis, either creating individual cases on a regular schedule or creating multiple cases to multiple people. We think of these cases as set and forget because you can set up the cast job once and it will keep happening, creating cases according to that rule until you change it. More robust automation can happen as well. An active trigger is a piece of code that fires upon certain things happening, like creating a new entity or updating a case or closing a form. Passive trigger is similar in that we can create a piece of code, but it looks on a regular basis for a condition, and if it's met, the trigger fires, creating cases or doing other things. Stemmons has a workflow engine, and one of the things that it can do based on whatever conditions you set is to create cases and assign them to the right people. When we're ready to get to the next level, there's some advanced approaches as well. The central AI connector connects Stemmons to various third-party artificial intelligence and machine learning systems, and the output of those can be turned into cases and assigned to appropriate people. We can configure an API to create cases so that we can launch it based on things that happen in other products. And finally, we can connect Stemmons to the Internet of Things, allowing third-party devices like sensors and cameras to create cases and traffic them to the right people. Deploying the right combination of these methods means that cases come from all over the place, not just one-off individual action. We get very robust task lists that mean something. Let's see why this is so impactful. In real time, we can see cases coming in from all over the organization and hitting people's task lists. Let's say we want to tune up something to make sure that we're doing it in the right way. We can look at the tasks and make adjustments like reducing the frequency or number of tasks or switching them from one person to another. And don't forget, not only can we look at current tasks, but we have a tremendous history of everything that's happened in the organization. That comes in really handy later. So here's a quick recap. By looking at the actual flow of cases, we can leverage work experience design to make people's jobs better. We can have real-time monitoring of what's happening in the company and deploy process automation in ways that are really intelligent. Because we have visibility into everyone's task list, we can balance workload effectively, we have real accountability in the organization, and we can transfer work from one person to another when it's necessary. And finally, the historical record that we have really lets us focus on improving our processes. It gives us an audit trail for all kinds of things in the organization, and it's an incredible source of training data for artificial intelligence and machine learning interventions. So let us know if you want more information on the 17 ways to create cases.